These days, America is doing Halloween way more extreme than ever before. And in the next hour, we're taking you on one hair-raising tour of the country's biggest, baddest, freakiest, and most outrageous Halloween attractions and traditions.
I just think Halloween is an extreme sort of holiday.
From a haunted house with an entire terrifying theme park packed inside.
It's 5 haunted houses, 23 rides and attractions. I mean, it's out of control. It's huge.
To the world's biggest pumpkin and a corn maze as massive as the Pentagon.
Just been lost for like 1.5 hours.
Yeah, it's really fun.
We'll also introduce you to one guy who carves the sickest jack-o'-lanterns you've ever seen.
It's cool looking, like old brains.
And we'll even take you deep inside a haunted compound so insanely devilish, they tried to shut it down.
And we're convinced that we're trying to recruit kids to join the Church of Satan.
This ain't trick or treat. You've entered the realm of Halloween's most extreme. First stop, Ulster, New York. Nothing ushers in the Halloween spirit quite like a good old-fashioned hayride through the autumn harvest. But if the traditional ride isn't quite getting your juices flowing, there's only one place to go. Welcome to the Headless Horseman Hayride, the scariest, most spine-tingling hell ride on 4 very creaky wheels.
Headless Horseman is the most extreme hayride in the country.
There's people that scream the entire way. We've had people lose control of their bladder, and we've had people jump off the hayride and run into the woods. Just about anything that you can imagine.
For the last 15 years, the Headless Horseman Hayride has been widely considered one of America's most frightening haunted attractions. What makes this hayride so extreme? For starters, it's the location. Deep in the gloomy woods of Ulster, New York, it's just a short car ride away from legendary Sleepy Hollow, stomping ground of Washington Irving's infamous Headless Horseman.
One of the cool things about Headless Horseman is that it is on a real farm. You've got the creepy woods, so it really creates a nice backdrop for a theme like a Sleepy Hollow Headless Horseman hayride.
And while the woods alone would give any normal person nightmares, it's what's lurking in the shadows that brings this hayride to the heights of horror. This year's ride is a 1-mile trek that winds through a circus gone terribly wrong. First, meet your undead tour guide.
The name of your wagon is Boneyard.
And when the wagon starts to roll, prepare to scream.
We carry our guests through a 1-mile hayride, and there's 13 different sets that unfold in front of them. Our sets are very big, and they're on both sides of the trail. And our actors are all scripted. It's kind of like a traveling play.
Come, my darlings! Tonight we feast!
There's illusions, pyrotechnics, scares, shocks. It's pretty amazing.
But between the scenes, don't you dare think you're off the hook. Some of the biggest scares come when you least expect them.
Death! Pray for death! Pray for death!
We have the quick scares that come at you from behind the bushes and everything, and that's kind of an arm's length away. There's a lot of misdirection with lighting to get you to look in one direction and then get your scare from the opposite side of the way.
People are like hidden in like the ground, they pop up front. Sitting in the back is the best, I think, because the people will run after you as the tractor is leaving, and you can't run away. They like run towards you. More when you're in the back. Yeah, definitely.
And there's no bigger scare than the long-awaited arrival of you-know-who.
When the Headless Horseman comes out, it's very dramatic.
The Headless Horseman tried to grab me. Yeah. He actually reached over, and the horse gets really close to you, so that's really scary.
At long last, after a torturous mile of heart-stopping thrills, your wagon draws to a halt, and the nightmare is over. Or is it? And now, one of America's most extreme Halloween traditions, pumpkin chunkin'. For more than 20 years, Sussex County, Delaware has been the site of the World Championships in the Halloween-friendly sporting event called Pumpkin Chunkin'. The goal? Hurl a less than aerodynamic gourd by mechanical means as far as you can. Every year, around 100 teams compete to build the most deadly pumpkin launching device.
Let's chop some pumpkin!
From catapults and air cannons to centrifugal gizmos and medieval death traps called trebuchets. And while more than 20,000 spectators run for cover, they blast off. The all-time distance record and the pumpkin chunkin' number to beat, it stands at a staggering 4,400 feet. That's 3/4 of a mile. Incoming! When we return, we get you hopelessly lost in America's biggest maze, carved from corn. That's as massive as 25 football fields.
Just been lost for like 1.5 hours.
And later, enter our #1 most extreme Halloween attraction, a haunted house so evil, the authorities tried to shut it down. When Halloween's most extreme returns. We're taking you on a nationwide search for the most extreme Halloween traditions. Next stop, Lathrop, California. Nothing says autumn fun quite like a stroll through a corn maze, a labyrinth literally carved into a cornfield. But if you thought corn mazes were kid stuff, you haven't been here. Welcome to Del Oso Farms in Lathrop, California, the most colossal corn maze in America. Sprawling across more than 25 acres, the Del Oso maze is roughly the size of the Pentagon and almost as scary.
We've been growing pumpkins for about 25 years, and we've had this pumpkin patch where people come and pick their own, and 10 years ago was when we said, well, why don't we add a little maze just to see whether people will actually come out, and they did.
And it's not just the scale of it that's extreme. Seen from above, these artfully landscaped labyrinths are truly breathtaking. The 2005 maze was designed to look like a grinning jack-o'-lantern. In 2006, it was a scarecrow pushing a wagon. And this year?
The maze always has the shape of a pumpkin in it, so this year we have a wagon full of pumpkins with a silo in the background.
It might look orderly from the air, but step inside, and you are instantly lost in the endless cornstalk madness.
Go around. Oh, hey, go right here. Go around like that.
You turn left, right, hit a dead end, come to a fork in the corn, turn again, and come right back where you started.
Go this way. Go this way. Hey, right, Mom, this way.
Around 100,000 fearless souls brave the corn maze each year, maps in hand. And though the walk normally takes an average of an hour to complete, if you lose your way for even an instant, you may never find your way back to civilization.
Oh, is it not fun to get lost in corn? Our philosophy is if there's cars left in the parking lot at the end of the night, they're going to come out sometime. And if they're left in the maze, at the end of the season, we just plow them under.
After the haunted house, We came in here and we've just been lost for like 1.5 hours. Yeah, it's really fun.
We kept following the sun just to keep going the same direction. It took us about 30 minutes for the outside perimeter, and this one here we've been about maybe 15, 20.
Yeah. And if you do make it through this incredible corn maze, the reward is Halloween bragging rights for years to come.
Good, we found our way.
But if you think corn is the scariest vegetable, check out what they're growing in Topsfield, Massachusetts. Nothing screams Halloween quite like a pumpkin. Want to see the biggest, baddest, and most monstrous in the world? Head to the Topsfield Fair for the ultimate heavyweight battle of the gourds, the 24th annual New England Giant Pumpkin Weigh-Off.
Giant pumpkins, and more giant pumpkins. And you're seeing the best in the nation. Some of the largest pumpkins, not only in the nation, but throughout the world. You may see some world record-breaking pumpkins today. Holy, you kidding me?
And these orange beasts are scary big. Just to be eligible to enter, a pumpkin must weigh in at over 350 pounds. And those are the babies. This year's weigh-off boasts 20 pumpkins at more than a staggering 1,000 pounds each.
People are bringing in probably 35 tons of pumpkins that'll be weighed today.
That's enough to make more than 70,000 pumpkin pies. So let's get rolling. 6 a.m. The contestants are forklifted into the arena. It's also time to check out the competition. And this isn't some 4-H club cakewalk. It's a Halloween blood sport.
Well, before the weigh-off, there's always a lot of rumblings and, who's got the big one. And we go from smallest to largest and build a little suspense. And, you could have a smaller pumpkin actually weigh more than a large one. It's a weight contest, not a size contest.
I'm a retired farmer. I was driving my family crazy, so they told me find a hobby. And I got into this.
8:30 a.m. The weigh-off begins. But moving even a featherweight can be murder on your back.
We have 2 lifting teams. We use about 20 people. We've gone over 1,000 pounds on most of the pumpkins, so now we're getting into the heavier ones. We're switching over to the lifting rings.
Once the scales start tipping the 1,000-pound mark, the competition really heats up. The next pumpkin belongs to Ron Wallace, the winner of last year's weigh-off. In 2006, he broke the world record with his 1,502-pound pumpkin. Can he do it again? 1,470 pounds, just 32 pounds shy of a world record. Only 2 pumpkins are left in the galley.
Let's watch the numbers, folks. There it is, folks! 1,560! Let's hear it for Pellwood on it!
Boy, this feels good.
1,566 pounds. He breaks the existing record. But there is still 1 pumpkin left.
Joe Utris from Rhode Island, gonna weigh in today at 1,680.
A 1,689-pound pumpkin. Massive enough to smash the world record by nearly 200 pounds.
Woo!
Now that's gonna make one hell of a jack-o'-lantern.
Woo!
And now, another of America's most extreme Halloween traditions, coffin racing. Behold the spookiest sporting event of the year. Manitou Springs, Colorado's annual Emma Crawford Coffin Races.
I am so ready to race.
Every October since 1994, the locals parade their meticulously customized coffins and hot rod hearses through town before 5,000 screaming fans. Then comes the main event. More than 30 caskets careen 250 yards up Main Street to see who has the most souped-up sarcophagus.
Quirky, we won our heat!
The race pays homage to former Manitou Springs resident Emma Crawford, who died in 1890 at age 19. According to local legend, torrential rains washed her coffin down the side of Red Mountain, where her ghost still lingers today. And on race day, no matter who wins, it always ends in a dead heat. When we return, it's the most elaborate haunted house in America, and it makes Hollywood creature features look like Bambi.
They're not going to see the stuff that we have at Netherworld at any other haunted house.
And later, jack-o'-lanterns so artful and awful that they will change the way you look at pumpkins. When Halloween's most extreme continues.